Welcome to Full Frontal. I'm Samantha B. Over the last week, people across the country have been coming to grips with the violent far-right insurrection on the nation's capital. It was the ugliest scene to happen on the floor of the Senate since about 1 hour before that. The deadly riot at the Capitol building will go down as one of the worst moments in our nation's history, outside of, well, a lot of other moments in our nation's history. But as terrible as it was, it could have been far worse.
The mostly white mob seen chasing a lone black Capitol police officer up the stairs. That officer hailed as a hero for leading the mob away from the Senate chamber and towards other officers.
Watch what happens as this officer gets to the top of the stairs. He looks towards an open door to the left, and then he moves away from it, and he goes toward the camera. We've learned that open door was the entrance to the Senate floor. So this officer led this mob away from the Senate floor.
He then led them to a hallway with 2 doors. One leads to infinite wisdom, the other leads to eternal fear. Choose wisely, he said. There was no reason for authorities to have been so unprepared for the riot. Trump supporters publicly planned the insurrection for weeks, long enough to get T-shirts printed with a date on them, though most of them ended up just wearing their usual female body inspector shirts anyway. Trump himself called for the protests on January 6th, including one tweet where he wrote, "Be there, will be wild." He wasn't wrong. That kid from Where the Wild Things Are was there. Apparently, he got red-pilled by the goat monster at a work rumpus. That man and several others have been arrested for their crimes at the Capitol, but there are so many who also deserve to face consequences for their actions, namely the 147 Republicans in Congress who voted to overturn the election results. They are all complicit. Some, like Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, have still not backed down, even as people in their own party have criticized them. Just as despicably, Trump's biggest enablers are only now breaking from the president to try to save their careers.
When Senator Mitch McConnell stood up and called on his colleagues to stand down, it was perhaps his greatest speech of his career. And that was a high point for us as a nation.
Senator Lindsey Graham, who after defending President Trump through so many controversies, finally stood up to say enough is enough.
Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Oh my God, I hate it. All I can say is count me out.
You don't hate it to end this way, Lindsey Graham. You've been complicit in this evil for years, and now you're bummed by it? You. The only reason you hate that it ended this way is because you didn't get to watch the Capitol riots from a distance while drinking a mint julep. Saying count me out does not get you off the hook, especially when the moment you realize everyone hates you, you count yourself right back in.
As to the 25th Amendment being invoked, I do not believe that's appropriate at this point.
Senator Lindsey Graham, he's pushing back against all the madness, tweeting out, quote, as the president stated last night, it is time to heal and to move on.
Lindsey Graham, who writes, quote, the Ayatollah could tweet, but Trump can't, says a lot about the people who run Twitter.
To which the Ayatollah responded, at me, you pussy. No one in the Republican Party suddenly grew a conscience. They're doing the bare minimum at the last minute to save their own skins. They were happy to support Trump when it was helping them cut taxes for the rich and fill the Supreme Court with these adults of the corn. But few people in Congress scored more sanctimony points that night than Vice President Pence. Just 2 months ago, he was supporting the president's baseless fraud allegations, but after a riot committed by supporters of his own re-election, the vice president was finally stunned and incensed at Trump. Mike Pence, be real. You just want an excuse to get the out of there. You're like me at a dry wedding. I don't care about love. I care about getting up for free. The only reason Pence's cowardly ass even went against the president was because he literally, legally could not overturn the election. But to hear the media tell it, it was so much more.
If I may, I want to thank the vice president today.
When Vice President Pence defied President Trump and said, I'm going to stand with the Constitution, not convenience, it was an amazing moment to behold.
They're treating Mike Pence like a god, which is why he immediately flogged himself in the back for committing idolatry. Meanwhile, many of the most dramatic rebukes of the president have come from the people he hired to like him.
Recently departed Attorney General William Barr, who scorched the president, saying, quote, orchestrating a mob to pressure Congress is inexcusable.
When Bill Barr feels that it's time to come out and denounce the president, you can feel something shifting.
Yeah, you can really just feel the shifting of Bill Barr from his current career to his next as, I don't know, white grimace. Barr's brave words about D.C. ring especially hollow, given he was the one who ordered law enforcement to clear Black Lives Matter protesters using tear gas and rubber bullets just so Trump could take photos in front of a church. Barr even posed for a few shots himself, and I hate to say it, but the Black Eyed Peas look terrible here. If you liked this video, hit subscribe and leave a pleasant comment below. Let's ride out the rest of this nightmare year together, okay? Okay? All right.